The bitter cold of a World War II winter could kill a man faster than a bullet. Soldiers on the Eastern Front faced nights so icy that frostbite set in within minutes, and temperatures plunged to mind-numbing -35 degrees Celsius. Yet somehow, some survived, often against all odds. One trick, deceptively simple, became their secret weapon: a blanket and a little ingenuity. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll know the exact method soldiers used to fight the cold. And yes, it's a survival tactic anyone could still use today. If you're into learning survival secrets that history almost forgot, hit that subscribe button right now. Your future self might just thank you. In winter 1942, German and Soviet soldiers weren't just fighting each other. They were fighting nature itself. Shelters were scarce, fires were dangerous, and clothing technology was primitive by today's standards. A single night exposed to -35 degrees Celsius without protection was a death sentence. Yet soldiers who learned how to manipulate heat, moisture, and insulation could survive where others froze. The blanket trick wasn't just wrapping yourself up, it was a calculated use of materials, body heat, and physics. The secret wasn't flashy gear or a new invention. It was understanding the basics of heat retention. Soldiers layered their clothing, yes, but the real magic came from how they used blankets. Instead of just draping a single heavy wool blanket over themselves, they created a double-layer system. The inner layer trapped a small pocket of air close to the body, acting as a heat buffer. The outer layer served as a shield against wind, frost, and moisture. This combination created a microenvironment, turning a flimsy shelter into a near-insulated cocoon. But there was more. Soldiers didn't just lie on the snow, they crafted makeshift pads using whatever they had: spare jackets, straw, or even packed leaves. The idea was simple: prevent conductive heat loss to the freezing ground. Even with a blanket, lying directly on the snow would have sapped warmth in minutes. By layering underneath, they effectively created a portable, self-contained sleeping system that could survive the harshest nights. Another piece of the puzzle was using body heat strategically. Soldiers huddled together when possible, but when alone, they became their own heat source. Curling up tightly, limbs pressed close to the torso, they reduced the surface area exposed to the cold. The blanket's inner layer held that heat in, while the outer layer blocked icy drafts. Some soldiers even tucked in small hot water bottles, wrapped in cloth, as a heat booster. It was a low-tech, high-effect method that required patience, discipline, and, a little ingenuity, but it saved lives. Here's a fact many modern preppers underestimate. In freezing temperatures, moisture is lethal. Sweat, snow, or condensation inside the blanket can accelerate heat loss. WWII soldiers learned to manage this carefully. They avoided overdressing during exertion, allowed airflow to prevent moisture buildup, and used natural barriers like leaves or grass inside their blanket cocoon to absorb any dampness. Essentially, a dry soldier inside a layered blanket had a far better chance of surviving the night than one wrapped in a soaked wool coat. Not every soldier had access to perfect blankets or padding. The brilliance of the trick was its adaptability. Old uniforms, torn coats, even newspapers were repurposed to create insulation layers. In some accounts, soldiers stuffed rucksacks with straw and used them as mattress pads inside a blanket shelter. The principle remained the same: trap air, stay dry, block wind, and contain heat. The materials changed, but the method never did. While it sounds like a relic of history, this blanket trick has timeless value. Modern hikers, campers, and preppers can replicate it with minimal gear. Use layers to trap air, create insulation from the ground, and always consider moisture control. Even today, a simple wool blanket and a bit of improvisation can save lives in extreme cold. World War II soldiers mastered these tactics not with tech, but with observation and cunning. That's what makes this lesson so powerful. Survival doesn't always require gadgets, just smart application of physics and human ingenuity. Survival isn't just physical, it's mental. Soldiers who used the blanket trick also understood mindset. Accepting the cold, conserving energy, and staying disciplined in layering and heat management meant the difference between making it to dawn and succumbing to frost. The blanket became more than fabric. It was a lifeline and a mental anchor, giving soldiers a sense of control when everything else seemed hopeless. In short, the blanket trick turned a simple piece of cloth into a life-saving tool. By layering, insulating, managing moisture, and channeling body heat, soldiers survived nights that would have killed unprepared men. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't high-tech, but it was effective, and it's a survival lesson that still resonates today. Whether you're exploring history or prepping for extreme conditions, there's real wisdom here. If you've learned something valuable from this, share it. Let others discover the ingenuity that saved lives in World War II winters. And don't forget to subscribe to History Survival Code. You never know when another lost tactic from the past could become the secret to your survival.